We're just going to have a changeover now, and then it will be Dr. Paul Miller. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GD Zone. Thanks, some of you, for in the last session. We have Dr. Paul Miller now from NHS Scotland. He's going to be talking to us all about their insights and their work with the Cambio. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, it's a bit echoey. Good morning. Morning, everyone. It's not a huge screen. We've got some slides. If people want to come forward, that might be a good thing. I'm going to go back one because he went off my introductory slide. So just to say, I'm talking today to you about decision support, Scotland's national decision support programme. I'm invited down by Cambio, whose stand is over there, and Cambio is our partner that we're working with to deliver this national programme of decision support. The organisation I work with is SCIMP, which is a kind of semi-autonomous professional e-health advisory informatics organisation giving advice into Scottish Government and NHS Scotland. We hope good quality clinical informatics advice and trying to drive forward that agenda. Anne Wales is actually, my colleague, is the programme lead for the whole national programme of decision support. So some of the work that I'm showing you today is actually her work. So I wanted to make that clear at the start, rather than walk away taking credit for other people's good stuff. So let's get going. If you've been following me on Twitter, you'll have seen I said this morning there will be beer. This, I'm afraid, is as far as the beer goes. And this you will recognise as being, I hope, Carlsberg. And I'm trying to use the Carlsberg analogy. You know, if Carlsberg did, I think it's haircuts is one they've got just now. Carlsberg did cars. Well, if Carlsberg did decision support systems, is where we're going with this, which maybe seems a bit lofty, but actually we do have some lofty ambitions for decision support in Scotland. This is a national programme. It's underpinning a lot of our strategies, clinical strategies and digital strategies, and it's something that we're putting a lot of resources into and faith into because we think we really need this if we're going to have a sustainable NHS in the future and change this whole health and social care model that we're trying to work with. Now, I've got 30 slides, I've got 30 minutes, so if I'm waffling on for too long, as I might have already done with this slide, then you need to wave at me so I can get on with it. The other reason just to put up this is it links neatly into this, which makes the point just that Scotland is a devolved nation in the UK, so our NHS and our health service, amongst other things, are devolved. So that means that we're totally funded separately from NHS England or NHS Wales, and we make our own decisions. This is actually a public health measure that they introduced in Scotland just recently to try and reduce alcohol consumption across the board. It's not actually targeted at alcoholics, it's targeted just getting consumption down a bit. Some prices, this is why you should all be sitting a bit further forward, so you can see the price of Carlsberg Special Brew and how that's been affected by this. It's gone up by £1.13, but I'm reassured that Glenfiddich hasn't been affected at all. So I'm just making the point further with regards to devolved nations, that the health services devolved. Other things are devolved as well. So we have some autonomous governance. And the health governance is also different. Although we're about 5 million people, we've got a lot of rurality. They split us up into what the NHS is managed with 14 territorial health boards. And then we have a number of special health boards as well, such as Healthcare Improvement Scotland or National Services Scotland, with whom we do a lot of work. And then sitting above that is the Health and Social Care Directorate of Scottish Government, which is the civil service department that actually implements policy on behalf of ministers. And e-health sits within that. So e-health is to deliver the clinical strategy using e-health tools, is the way we're going. And not surprisingly, having all these departments, they have a number of strategies, and we have different strategies again. Some really good stuff, I think, in the current clinical reform and approach in Scotland about realistic medicine, which is simply about saying, let's not give people who are 95 and quite frail 20 drugs to keep them alive for another 6 months. Let's have discussions with people about what they want to do. Let's use some evidence to support these decisions so we can have discussions with our patients and a conversation and shared decision making to change how we do medicine. And that's, I think, better for people, but it's also probably better for a health economy. And decision support is going to be crucial for that. We also have this health and social care delivery plan. We have a different general medical services contract for GPs. I'm also a GP, a general practitioner in Scotland, in Paisley, just south of Glasgow, 3 days a week. So this kind of work is actually more a hobby. But the GMS contract in Scotland is also going to transform stuff because it's about GPs doing less of the churn, handing a lot of responsibility out to other qualified clinical professionals and social care professionals. But these guys, as well as the doctors, are also going to need decision support to do their work. They're going to need good pathways and good information. We also have just recently Scotland's Digital Health and Care Strategy, the new one, which mentions within it the requirement for decision support. So we need all this because of that. Because people essentially can't do medicine alone. We may feel confident when we're sitting in front of patients, we may feel the decisions we're making are good, but actually sometimes we don't have good days. We get fuzzy thinking, we don't know what we're doing, we can't assimilate all that evidence into our brains and compute it. And that's the whole point of this event, really, is that we need digital tools to support our grey matter so we make better decisions and kill fewer folk, basically. Even better would be if we can keep folk alive for longer and better quality of life for longer. But killing less people would be a good start. So off the back of that, we have this program, roadmap, for decision support. And this is Anne's work. Anne has done a lot of the stuff in this. And there's a fantastic set of requirements there around about what we want to do with the national roadmap. And some evidence base as well. So Anne has done, combined with our help, we did an evidence review of what the requirements for decision support, because decision support isn't some kind of magic thing that you just say, oh, well, that doctor needs something to pop up when, and that'll sort our problem. That's not how it works. If you actually go out and look at the academic, scientific analysis and basis, there's stuff about decision support that says, yes, it can work, it does make a difference, but you need to implement it carefully, you need to do it in the right way, and there's lots of information and evidence to say how that should be done. Still, of course, because all these tools are essentially new to everyone, a learning experience, and we're still learning about how we're going to do that. I'm sure we may make mistakes along the way. We did some further analysis about how we might want all that to look, having kind of a knowledge base, an inference engine, having a kind of learning loop, if you like, that it's not a static thing. So decision support isn't just, there you go, make your decision. It's about, how did that go? What was the outcome? Can we change? Can we flex this pathway? Can we change the decision? Can we flex the algorithm, make that rule better? And how can we improve the clinician's knowledge as well to just do healthcare better? So it's not a static issue. And this fundamental base is what we wanted for our decision support. We want to have this knowledge base. We want to be able to consume patient data, shove it into some kind of engine that does stuff with it, and then pushes out applications at the top. So it gives applications across multiple devices, multiple channels, contextualized to the user, contextualized to the situation. I told you we had a big ambition. So these were where our requirements came from, and I want to draw your attention to some bits of this. I don't know if this pointer probably doesn't work. Apparently a green laser works in LEDs, but they always give you a red pointer for these things. Things I want to bring you to are system agnostic common platform, okay? We want something that sits at a national level that can be consumed by all our healthcare and social care systems, okay? We want there to be a common bank of knowledge. We want there to be a range of decision support tools, multiple channels, and that. Open standards-based architecture, because we can't do this any other way, really. So to do this then, we didn't just say, look in the internet and say, oh, they'll do. We did a formal procurement through National Services Scotland. We flicked out requirements, put out to tender, and had a number of bids to look at this programme for us. And in the end, not surprisingly, given that Cambio invited me to chat here, it's Cambio that won the tender. So I want to tell you a little bit about why Cambio won that tender and how we've been getting on with working with them. I alluded to this earlier. This is about scientific basis. Now, something we got very strongly from the Cambio team was that they've got some science behind what they're doing. They're thinking carefully about it. They're using evidence base about it. They're even doing research on it and supporting through academia, universities, and students and teams to look carefully at the work they're doing and build an evidence base. And we thought that was really important and really impressive because, of course, we'd already done a bit of that as well. So that chimed with our thinking. They had this kind of model, which I'm hoping is their diagram, not just a generic one, but just about how you get this kind of learning loop. And of course, that we thought that's what we've done. We've got that stuff already. They've got a library. We wanted a catalogue, a library, so people could access stuff across NHS Scotland. They wouldn't have to struggle to find things. And this is not just a kind of points to a guideline. This is points to technical artifacts, points to archetypes, it points to algorithms, it could point to calculators, and it can point to applications. So too often decision support ends up being referential decision support. You click on a thing, it takes you to a guideline. You've got 50 pages of guideline in front of you and a patient. And I'm like, oh, just have penicillin. We don't really do that, of course. You're all looking very stern-faced. No, don't really just chuck penicillin at them. Okay, we like this as well, this kind of architecture. Henrik from Cambio tells me I've actually got a newer diagram, which is a bit clearer than this one, but we thought that kind of chimed with our basic structure as well. And this stuff, open standards. Really open standards. So, you have these discussions and you go, are you open standards? They go, yeah, we do XML. No. We do have, I'm a clinician and an informatician. I'm not a technologist. And I couldn't write you, a FHIR profile. But I understand the gist of it. I understand a bit about open air and architectures and these things. And from a clinical perspective, I think that's what we need. And the team that did the procurement, it wasn't just myself and Anne, we had a number of representatives from across Scotland also kind of went down that route, that we thought that we need to have open standards underpinning all this because of the scale that we hope to work at. So the good things we thought here were open air because we have a little bit of open air resource, clinical modelling resource through Aperta in Scotland, so we understand that. And we really like this guideline definition language because GDL is a reference language for actually taking these 50-page guidelines and turning them into code that can be then used to drive applications. Okay, so you've got to have that somehow, some way of doing that. And this is an open reference standard for doing that. It's all up on the OpenAir website, and there's tooling indeed to support it to help people write their own. Because we don't want to have to go to Cambio every time we want to deliver a decision support app. The ambition we have is to have a team of people across the boards in Scotland who can do this work, build a community of developers and analysts who can actually take people's requirements and turn them through this tooling into applications. Okay? That's the ambition. We're some way off of that, I think, but that's the ambition. What else? Oh yeah, right, so We're on to challenges. Now, it's not going to surprise you what the big challenges here are, particularly. Put some up. That one. It's a random picture of silos off Google, okay? We need our data. It's not our vendors' data, it's our data. We want it back. And time is the other one, because of course the sponsors of this kind of program often have quite short timescales in mind. So they think, oh, national system support, yeah, let's get that up and running, take us 18 months. We don't think so. We think this is a 5 to 10 year transformation program if we're going to deliver this successfully. We can do bits of success along milestones along the way, one of which is our primary care pilot, which is my next slide. So we're churning that out with Rong and his team with a view for November this year, which is to get some applications that do things like polypharmacy advice, gastrointestinal disease decision-making, chronic pain management, giving pathways to clinicians, letting them test that and run with it. Now, we're doing that in an agile way. We're not doing everything waterfall and saying, there you go, guys, because we know that doesn't work. We know that you've got to get clinical engagement to do that kind of stuff. And one of the things that's been really helpful, I think, is having the expertise, again, from Rong. Rong should stick his hand up. He's the Chief Clinical Information Officer for Cambio, who understands this stuff very deeply and wrote a lot of the GDL specification, I understand, as well. Yeah. So it's taking this kind of stuff. This says, are you happy at the top? Okay, because you're all too far away. I told you needed to come down. Are you? And you just follow this algorithm, you can find out if you're happy. So that's like a decision support pathway. Okay, but what Rong and his team says is don't do all that. Get the important decision points and focus on them. So that's clearly a much easier algorithm to follow. And that, having that kind of knowledge of how to build decision support rules and how to flex them into clinical environments has been really important for us. What we need to do, I think, is build, and I had this conversation with you guys last night, is actually build an analyst-type resource, like requirements owners, I think, as Ron was saying, so we have got people who can understand this stuff in Scotland, and that's a piece of work that we still need to do. So we talked about open air. This is traditionally how we do things in health. We go, we've got a national system. Can you guys integrate with our national system? They go, yeah, we've got an API. Okay, so what does that put the onus on the public service to do? It puts the onus on the public service to do this. This is stolen from Tim Benson's book. This is about building connectors between disparate systems, okay? And what they want us to do is that. And they want us to spend our resources every time for every different application, spending money, spending time to integrate with their API, for which we sign NDAs, for which we can't see the specification, which may not give us the functionality we want anyway, and typically these APIs are a halfway house. So we want to go to this model, that. Okay, so Cambio uses OpenAir, and obviously there are APIs and there's other technical layers around, but they're using things like CDS hooks, for example, which again is an open standard for delivering some of this. So we're all about open standards, open technologies as far as we possibly can go. I should clarify, that doesn't mean that everything needs to be open. You know, if someone can build a CDS application off our data and using our tooling, and they do it in a proprietary way, I guess that would be probably okay. You know, it's not, people can still make money out of this. And Cambio aren't doing this for nothing. They're not working for us for free because they think it's a hobby too. Though I think actually Rong might be almost thinking it's a hobby, chatting to him. So that's what we want. Or maybe fire. I mean, we can do fire as well. I mean, this is about how you model this stuff, okay? I love this quote. I'm just shoving it up because I think I come back to the silos about how we're going to actually get our data back. And I think there is a transformation of thinking in Scotland and across probably the whole of the UK. Some of it chatted about here, but not everyone's getting it. Our PERTAS document was very useful in defining how open platforms would work. And this kind of thinking is getting into NHS Scotland's ecosystem at a significant level. This was from the Scottish Parliament Health and Social Care Committee. Okay, for time. A social care committee who did a big review of e-health delivery in Scotland, and they kept saying, you know, we really need a national platform. Now, I'm not sure they entirely know what they mean by that, but that's fine. That's not really their job. They've expressed the requirement. It's our job, really, as clinical informaticians and clinical leaders to drive that forward and tell them what we need as a national platform. It is into the NHS Scotland e-health, digital health and care strategy, which is the new e-health strategy that they have. It starts talking about national platform as well. But again, the requirements, other than saying things like use open standards, aren't particularly well expressed. So we need to find an answer to that. So we think, we're having discussions just now in Scotland, we're investigating this, we're investigating putting in place some kind of new architecture to get us back our data on some kind of clinical data repository that we can then consume. So that kind of work is one of the ways that we might be able to tweak our data out of clinical systems, be able to consume it into our clinical decision support system. But that's not the only thing we're doing. There's other ways of doing that as well, and we are talking to suppliers. I just want to show you, this is where the current architecture that we have proposed for CDS in Scotland. And we have now this level. This says Open Interoperability Platform here, okay? And we have open APIs that we're talking about. And over here we have HL7 Fire, Open Air. We have got an ensemble instance in Scotland which might help us do some of that churn of translation. And then we've also got things like standard open stuff like terminologies like SNOMED CT. So this is where the thinking's going. We've got existing vendors in Scotland. We've got a lot of them. In primary care, where I work, we've principally got EMIS and Vision. EMIS PCS is the current, and a lot of you will be shaking your heads in despair, but EMIS PCS is the current application we've got off EMIS at the moment. So we can, to get the data back from our vendors, and not just primary care vendors, we've got the acute side is in a similar place. We need to do stuff. And we can, carrots, of course, so we can, we can pay them money, we can give them positive strokes, we can say, thanks guys, we can give them business. If they're willing to work with us and liberate, again, liberate the data, the patient data, citizen data, it's my data. I want it to be available to be processed by systems, not held in a system that we then have to pay you money, have to pay application vendors money to let us record it, have to pay application vendors money to store it for us, and then have to pay application vendors money to give it back to us so we can actually then use it for things that we want to do. This is a mad way of approaching e-health. We need to break that. So, carrots, yeah. We want to work with these guys. And sticks, with contractual means as well. Contractual means, of course, can be carrot and stick. Reprovisioning in Scotland for primary care systems is currently underway. We're also procuring, we have procured, I'm not quite sure the status of it, of a kind of PDS type system. It's called CAI in Scotland. So that's your patient identifiers, your demographics. So the acute side, I think, also has their, I think it's InterSystems primarily use, and that contract will come up as well. So contractual means let us do some change. We can start to say, we want our data back. But we don't want to fall out with them. We want to express some love here because we know that these people, these companies have a huge amount of domain knowledge. They've fantastic teams of developers, analysts. They can really deliver applications. They know workflow. We don't want to lose all that. We don't want to fling all that away just because we want to have an open data layer underlying it. So I've done not bad for time, actually. Maybe a bit faster than I thought I'd be. Ending here with this picture of a mountain for you, because it does feel, you can see this is a lofty program. We've got significant ambition. So it's like climbing a mountain. We're still probably just down at the foothills of the mountain at the moment. If you look carefully at this mountain, you can actually see a path up it. Okay, so we probably do know the path we want to go on to get up this mountain. And actually this mountain here brings us back to beer, because this is Schiehallion, which is a mountain in Perthshire. It's actually quite a small Munro. They say it's a very gentle climb. I've never actually done it. But Schiehallion is the beer by the Harvestman Brewery, named after, the mountain, clearly. And it's a far nicer pint than Carlsberg. If ever you're looking for a good pint of beer. But it brings me back to my last point, which is just to say, we are doing decision support. We do have lofty ambitions for it. But we kind of know the path we're going on. And we're bringing, I think, the country with us, and the people with us, and the health service with us. And I think this will happen. And I think I'll leave you with that as a final message. And that's it, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for your time. happy to take any queries or questions for 5 minutes or so, if there are any.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes, one over here.
Paul,
John.
in Marcus East's talk, he said that Apple undertakes no program that lasts longer than a year because by then the world's moved on and you're too late. You're looking at a 5 to 10 year program.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's okay because a lot of this is about models. You're right, we don't know what technology will be there in 5 years. Maybe open air will be out the water, fire will be, fire squared or on fire or burnt out fire or something. So yeah, we understand that, and so what we want to do we're modeling clinical content, clinical process. So we can model a blood pressure using open air. We can model how to manage a blood pressure using GDL. Okay, so that means that when new technologies come along, we're not stuck in that paradigm. We can move our stuff. And one of the things we said to Cambio during the procurement was that means that if we fall out with you, we can take all our stuff and walk away and put it on someone else's platform. And they went, well, yeah. So we're not afraid of that. We're thought about that. We've got it kind of in our brain for the technology challenges. Anything else for anyone else? Okay, I think we're done.
We on now? We're going to have a short break now, so we'll be back in half an hour. But can I just ask all of you, please don't leave here today without filling in some surveys. This is all about blueprinting, and the NHS and digital should all be about sharing, and your views do really matter. So please go there, fill in one of the forms, and it's really important. And can I just throw forward as well, later on today in this zone, we'll be having a little review Q&A session. And again, we'd really love you to be part of that, to ask vital questions and really deliver something meaningful to the people that will be on stage and are listening. Thank you very much.